manual, and in just 3 weeks, he found the deal of a lifetime, negotiated an offer, got it accepted, found the EMD from a third party, me, and then found the buyer to sell it. Now, how did he do all of that? He's a member of the Flip Flop Flipper Apex community. And inside of Apex, he was able to find the buyer who's an operator. He was able to find someone who wanted to put up the money, and he's got the deal of a lifetime done, and is going to make $40,000 on his very first deal. So if that sounds good to you, and you want to be like Emmanuel, comment Apex, and I'll send you the link.
All right. Mike, sorry we're late. I see you're in there talking about being late next week. Don't do it. We were working on with a contractor on a flip, and you know how those conversations goes, guys. They're slow.
Sorry about the lateness. We're on Florida time.
That's right. Guys, welcome to the Monday Night Power Hour. How are you feeling?
This is number 97, you guys.
97. That's
we're
crazy.
We're gonna do the Monday Night Power Hour number 100 on the 29th of this month, and we're trying to figure out how to make it a festive celebration of sorts, of bringing in the New Year's. Looking forward to 2026. So, put in the chat what are some ideas that we could do for that 100th episode of the Monday Night Power Hour.
And Amber Lee, good to see you. Check your email. I just sent you a $100 gift card from the Freedom Flippers live event. So that should be in your email right now. Go ahead and check for that. Pretty cool, though. It's a good message to get when you tune into a live stream.
Yeah. Amber is awesome.
Again, I'd love to see some ideas of what we can do. Maybe we should have some fireworks. Maybe we should get Emmanuel to put a bottle rocket on his belly button or something. Anything for the new year could be fun.
I mean, it has to be on your guys' side, mostly. Florida's where you get the good stuff.
Oh, they don't have good fireworks down there?
We got dynamite. It doesn't seem the same.
I mean, we can shoot off machine guns.
Oh, that's
in Puerto
fun.
Rico, and you can't really do that. You don't hear the machine gun fire in Florida.
No, yeah, you do not. You do. Emmanuel says he's in. He's going to do it.
Gun battles around New Year's in Puerto Rico are a thing, though, or not gun battles, but the first New Year's that I spent there, they're shooting off pistols and shotguns and machine guns, and it was like, wow. That was after Maria and the lights were out.
Whew. I'll tell you what, for the 4th of July, guys, I got this fireworks set, and it was called B-52 Freedom or something, and this is right after we bombed Iran, and they already had a fireworks set about the B-52 bombers, and those things were absolutely nuts. I mean, we'd launch them up, and they just would go and go and go and keep exploding. It was crazy.
Well, maybe we could get them again for. Although I don't know how we do it on the Monday Night Live. It's I mean it's gonna be dark. It's dark here right now.
We could do it
in an hour. It'll be really dark.
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Well, we were looking at the news, guys. A report just came out that 52% of homes in America have lost value over the past year. That's the worst since 2008 to have that happen.
That is shocking news, but I don't think that correlates to the island of Puerto Rico. Can you check on that and see if that – I don't think that we're seeing prices go down on the island. But you know what they say, if the U.S. gets a cold, then Puerto Rico gets the flu. So if we don't fix this in the States quickly, you'll see price drops on the island.
Prices in Puerto
probably in
Rico
18 months or so from where it gets the worst.
Some of the highest in the United States right now.
Puerto Rico has a very strong price increase.
22% or something, right?
27.1% year over year.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like we have the 2025 data. That's 2024. But the 2025 data should be out soon.
So that's what I think has happened is that for the last 18 months or so. It's been going down in the States. It has not affected Puerto Rico yet. Here's my hope, is that we could correct in the States before Puerto Rico ever starts to go down, and then Puerto Rico could just sit this little correction out, because Puerto Rico certainly has been hit. I mean, Puerto Rico, if there's a real correction, like if this keeps going in the States, then it will affect Puerto Rico, and it'll be much worse. But if Puerto Rico could sit one bad economy out, this would be a great one for it to sit out, and then let Puerto Rico just kind of continue to recover. That would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good wish. And I think Puerto Rico, it's got such a different factor than a lot of these places where there's a huge shortage of housing.
Yeah.
That always just props up prices. Like, you can never really crash that much when you've got 300,000 people that need a home. So when prices do drop a little bit, there is someone looking. I mean, if we're not to be a nerd, let me pull out Microsoft Paint because I like this stuff. But if we're looking at supply and demand graphs, guys, it's pretty clear that when you have a big shortage of that, your prices just get propped up. I'm pulling up the map. Like, this is what
and the other thing to say there is that Puerto Rico for a long time didn't have price increases at all. So the states were going through 5 to 20% year over year price increases, and Puerto Rico was flat to down for an entire decade. And then if now Puerto Rico has finally started to come up, and you drawing the Confederate flag there, McKenna?
This is a supply and demand graph, man.
That's yeah, great.
We got prices over here. So you can see as did I do this backwards? I think I did it backwards.
Start over.
If there was only some sort of AI that could do this, show you a graph.
I have a degree in this. Now, have I done this in 10 years? No. But I got a degree in drawing these pictures. So I think I know what I'm doing.
This is valuable. This is the
college
valuable
education.
This is what we sent you to college for, McKenna.
That's right.
It's something that you can be proud of. You can hang your hat on. Your great grandfather was a rocket scientist. Your grandfather was a college degree. Your dad is basically a bum who's never used his college degree a day in his life. But you can draw stick figure graphs.
That's right.
Like no one else.
Like no one else. So, guys, as you see, as price goes up, this demand axis here goes down. And then here you've got the supply of houses. As it goes up, prices go down, right? And then where they meet in the middle, that's the optimal price for the market. But when you have a big shortage, when this graph here is artificially here, I'm sorry, that's backwards too. Man, my graphs are terrible. When prices are all artificially up here because of supply, it makes a much higher demand spike. I hope that was clear to everybody. I hope you know what I'm trying to communicate with this little graph.
So with looking at this graph, what I can say is that it's very likely going to snow tomorrow somewhere in the west.
That's right.
It's all about the math, you guys. You saw it right there on that graph. If you've got a lot of houses, then your demand will go down. When you have a housing shortage, your demand will artificially go up. So the demand can stay relatively flat or the same, which, by the way, demand hasn't gone up, isn't crazy on the island of Puerto Rico. If anything, we've been losing population for the last several years. But because there's so few houses and because we have such a big, huge diminishment in houses that are available for people to buy, there's a huge housing shortage. So we continue to see prices going up, even though we're not seeing like record population growth. We're seeing some small population growth. So I don't know if McKenna wants to add that to his chart, but could you imagine if all of the people who are going to flee New York start coming to the island of Puerto Rico now? Prices are going to continue to go crazy because we have to fix these houses in order to meet the demand of what's currently here. And if we get anything like a good economy or an influx of people, then the price is going to skyrocket because we just don't have the houses for people.
That's right. Well, guys, I went ahead and I redrew the graph to make it a little bit clearer for you. Let me know if this makes sense, if this is showing people what I was saying. I hope I was a little bit better with my artistry on this one.
Man, you did a lot better
It's
there.
exactly what I was doing right now. Exactly. I was about to pull it up.
You guys, if you don't have a degree in drawing these graphs, you can do what these guys were both going to do and go to AI. Just simply ask it to make the graph, and then
So you can see this blue line here. That's the original supply curve. That's if Puerto Rico did not have a shortage of housing. You would see quantity of houses are up here, but over 6 and 8. I just used random numbers, right? And the price is lower because we have this shortage of homes. The whole graph shifts up, where now the quantity of housing is less and the prices all are up. So when you have downward pressure on price, it can only go down so far relative to where the original prices should be, right? Because you've got this shortage and demand. So I hope that makes sense. It's gonna keep prices high in Puerto Rico until they solve this housing issue. And then someone here, I think Willie said, shortage of housing is driving up prices for locals and is making an affordability crisis. Where do you find the balance? I mean, the balance is here, this blue line. It's you need to build 300,000 more homes and get to the right equilibrium where prices and supplies meet. That's the natural state of the market. It's an artificial shortage. It's caused by government inefficiency. It's caused by inheritance problems. It's caused by not reclaiming tax deeds. There's a lot of solutions they could do. But
banking issues, the liquidity problem on the island of Puerto Rico is a huge problem. But beyond that, let's assume that we're going to continue for a long time to have a housing shortage. What do I do about the affordability? Because I think affordability is a problem not just on the island of Puerto Rico. Affordability is a problem that's nationwide. Like, affordability has just gone crazy. Young people can't afford houses, and it doesn't matter where the young people live. The same problem is happening in Iowa and in California and Michigan and Chicago and Florida and North Carolina. Wherever you go, there's an affordability crisis right now. And the reason is that we've seen the cost of assets, and you could do a graph on this, McKenna, but the cost of assets have kind of skyrocketed really over the last half of a decade since COVID. And the problem is that wages never go as fast as inflation sends the cost of assets. And guys, they're going to lower the cost of money. They're going to start printing money again. They're going to stop quantitative tightening, which means they're going to stop taking money out of the economy and they're going to start putting money in the economy. What do you think is going to happen again? We're going to have it sure as hell isn't going to make things more affordable. We're going to continue to have a widening of the affordability crisis. So what's a solution beyond absolutely just a ton of supply coming into the market? If I'm a young person or someone who's having this affordability crisis, my solution would be become a real estate investor. And I would do it if I didn't have any money. I would do it if I had some money. I would do it if I had a job that I loved. I would do it if I have a job I hate. I don't care. I'd become a real estate investor because then you can beat the affordability problem. If you're a real estate investor, you can go out and seek the problem properties and solve the problems for the sellers that exist in every market. Someone asked us earlier today specifically about affordability and this housing crisis, and should we wait? Should we sit it out until it gets worse or gets cheaper, or should we be looking at buying? And my answer was, we're always buying. We're real estate investors, so that means there's not a market where we're not looking for a good deal. The difference for us in affordability and for retail is that when we're looking at stuff, guys, if you remember the formula we use in every market, basically some formula similar to this is 70 cents of what the retail price is minus the cost of repairs. That's where real estate investors kind of sweet spot is. And if we're in a downward trending market in Florida, like McKenna said we are at the start of this show, then we're going to maybe start using 68% and then 65%, or maybe we'll just drop it all the way down to 60% of the after repaired value. And the reason that we do that is because we know that the market is correcting downward. And what we've seen through history, what I've seen through history, is that when the market corrects, say 5% on the retail level, it corrects at about 5 times as much on the wholesale level, especially if it's prolonged. So if there's a downward trajectory on prices on the retail side for a prolonged period of time, things are going to get really, really cheap and really, really exciting for real estate investors. And the same thing is true so what does that mean? So that means that if things are going down on the retail, then we're going to start buying much cheaper on the wholesale level. And so we're going to rework our formulas so that we're not trying to catch the falling knife, but there's great deals in every market. If things start to go up again, then we're going to start to raise it back up. But we don't ever want to get above that 70%, really. Like that's kind of the ceiling, and then the floor is 0. So you can see, guys, why I'm saying you can buy in every market, and why I'd say if you feel like you can't afford to buy a house, don't look for a house to buy to live in. Look for a way to house hack and become a real estate investor. I would say go look for a multifamily and buy that property, live in a piece of it, and rent out the other sides of it so that you have more money coming into the bank so that you can afford to live in a house.
Well, and I would say this too, guys. Robert's been in Florida for 2 weeks. He has a house under contract here in town. He started looking when he got here, and he's got a house. And even though Orlando, I just checked, it's down I think it's like 83% of homes in Orlando have lost value in the past year. So you're like, why would you buy a house in Orlando? Robert does not pay market value. My dad goes in and finds deals, and you can find that in any market. You can, and it might be harder in some markets. It might be harder. You might have to tighten your belt, like he was saying, on what your deals are. But you can always find something that's a good deal that you're going to make money on. That you just have to look for it.
And guys, on the house that McKenna's talking about that I have it under contract, I think I'll bring it to the Shark Tank tomorrow night. But I'm buying a house in Orlando, Florida at $182,500 on a street that I've done 3 houses that are direct neighbors, like the next house over, then 2 houses down, then 4 houses down. And we were buying these houses 20 years ago for around $135,000 to $150,000 a piece, and then fixing them up and then selling them for around $200,000 to $250,000. I'm buying a house today for $182,500. It's been 20 years, you guys, and I'm going to sell that house for $400,000. So the numbers, I think, are even better today than they were then. Even though then I would have been paying less money for it, I was selling it for less money too, a lot less. So the spread has gotten so wide that if I buy this house and the market continues to slide down, well, I'm profitable all the way up to $350,000, but I'm also profitable if I just fix it up, refinance it, throw a renter in there, and hang on to it until the market comes back. This is an area now that houses are going to sell for between $400,000 and $500,000, and if I just wait long enough, I'm going to get every bit of that number. I mean, we've seen that movie before. So if we have this price correction, they only last. I mean, even in 2008, it really only lasted 4 years before prices were really on the way back up. And certainly within 6 or 7 years, they were fully back, I think, in most places.
Well, let me show you this. Going back a little bit, you were talking about earlier that as interest rates go down, as they start loosening up the economy, putting in more money, this graph shows that, hey, more houses are going to sell. There's going to be more supply, but you also see the prices are going up when that happens. You know, this green line here, this is the amount of houses that are going to transact. So then when you're here with the current environment that we're in, current interest rates, current prices, current quantitative easing, you can see when you shift that, when you have lower rates, more money in the economy, yes, there's going to be more houses transacting. There's going to be more opportunities, but the prices are going up as well. So I think a lot of people get stuck in this. oh, I should just wait until prices go down. Guys, prices don't really go down ever. I mean, it happened this year. So maybe now is the bottom. I don't know, but it doesn't happen often. They only are going to go up. And the second that they decide that interest rates are going down, the prices are going to skyrocket. And I think what this doesn't show too is there's some pent up demand. People have been stuck in their house at 2%, 3% interest rates for 7 years now, 5 years now, and they're ready to move, but they can't at today's interest rates because people aren't going to downsize. They're not going to want to increase their mortgage payments to get a worse house. But the moment they're able to go get a better house or a similar house in a different area that they want to be in for the same amount of money, for a similar amount of money a month, you're going to see an explosion in demand. It's just going to go off the charts. So
I'll add to, I think you're right. And I'm going to add to it. And I don't need a graph to show this. I'll just say it. You guys tell me if you agree with it in the comments. What happens is society learns what the value of an asset is pretty quickly. So as the prices go up, and think about real estate in California. When I think about real estate in California, I think that everything's $1 million. That's just what I've heard for a long time. And I don't know anything about the real estate market in California. But then when prices come down and there's a crash like in 2008 there was, buyers who are buying houses now, let's say it's California and they're buying something for $700,000, 30% below that $1 million that they thought it was worth. They don't think that they're buying a $700,000 house. They think they're buying $1 million house for $700,000. And there's a big psychological difference is that the market in itself believes that it's $1 million house. The fact that you're buying it at $700,000 means you're getting a good deal. But as soon as the money gets cheap enough, and as soon as the kind of economy will allow it, that house is going to automatically go back up to that $1 million and past it super fast. And that's going to happen. You'll see that. You'll see that again this time. Like if it's true that there's been a correction in the cost of housing this year, and let's say that lasts 18 months, 2 years, 3 years from now, prices will be back where they were before they dropped, and then they'll continue to go up from there. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah. You know, something I've seen locally, just as I'm driving around, and guys, I look at a lot of houses when I drive around. I see a lot of infill construction. I see a lot of, in Central Florida, people are tearing down old homes to build new homes. And I'm not seeing a lot of, new neighborhood development. So I think what's happening is the demand for new homes is going into these neighborhoods and building new homes where they already are because they're not able to go buy a new one that, Amherst Homes built, or one of those big corporations. I forget.
Yeah, Pulte Homes or
Pulte, and you're not able to get that product right now that you want. So you're seeing this infill construction, and that is taking the market in these neighborhoods and changing it. And I see a lot of that. I see it all over town. These big $1 million homes going up. So it's interesting to read that the prices have gone down, because that's not what I've seen and felt. I thought that they'd be much lower than what they are. And probably what it is that, homes peaked at a ridiculous price last year, but as things have just gone crazy since COVID. And so I haven't mentally adjusted to that thing's worth $1.2 million when it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I still think it's worth $600,000. So then when it goes from 1.2 million to 1 million, it still doesn't really register to me because I haven't.
For you, it's worth way more than the $600,000 that you would have paid for it 2-3 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you don't sit out markets. That's why I don't sit out markets. I mean, you buy less when the market is kind of crashing. You're going to be more careful. Once the market gets to the bottom and starts to go up again, I'm like a fiend. You buy all you can. Like if we ever get a 2008 crash again, or 2010, 2011, 2012 real estate market, then you guys, we just buy everything as
How-
much
how
as we
could-
possibly can.
I don't think it's possible to have a 2010, 12, 11 market again. There's it was so specific what
Yeah.
happened there. They
Yeah.
had all hundreds and hundreds of shitty mortgages that all defaulted because they were just giving out these no income, no verification loans. They don't do that anymore. So I should check. I'm going to pull it up right now. I don't think we're seeing foreclosure rates going up. So you're never going to see a sudden spike in inventory that the banks need to pay off. That's what caused the crash, right? That banks suddenly had billions of dollars of real estate they needed to sell. So they're just fire selling this stuff. That's not happening. At least I don't think. I'm gonna ask the GPT right now. How are foreclosure rates?
I think they are going up, but they're not to that kind of level. Back in 2008, every third house on the street was in foreclosure. That doesn't mean that every third house on the street actually got all the way through the foreclosure process, but everybody was struggling in 2008, 9, and 10, and foreclosure rates went absolutely through the roof. And we would see where in a typical year in Orange County, Florida, there might be 15,000 foreclosures a year, and they were having 15,000 foreclosures a month and more.
So there is in the United States 350,000 homes in foreclosure.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's for 2023 for the whole year and the entire country.
That's crazy low. I mean, to me, that seems really low. Puerto Rico's even lower.
All right, I'm going to see what was the in 2006, 2012. Let's see. So right now, we're currently sitting at 0.26% of all U.S. housing is in foreclosure. During the peak of the recession, we were at 2.23%. So what's that? Is that 100 times more, 10 times more foreclosures?
We're at point what?
We're at 0.24, and at the
Point-
peak, it was 2.23 in 2010.
It was 2.23 divided by 0.24. That's
I think that's-
93 times the amount of foreclosures.
Is it 93 or
100 times
900?
more foreclosures. That's what we're talking about.
I think
100
it's
times.
10 times more, isn't it?
No,
It is. 10 times more. Because you take 0.26 times 10 would be 2%.
okay, you're right. Well, good.
Anyways.
100 times seemed really high.
So
But
that
10
means
times seems really high.
10 times is crazy. That means that, if there's 10,000 foreclosures in your area right now, that means there was 100,000 foreclosures back then. I mean, that's just crazy how many more foreclosures there are.
Adon asked about Puerto Rico. So in 2024, residential foreclosures fell 52.8%, and there were only 928 foreclosures for the entire island for the entire year. Now, I don't know what that represents about the amount of houses, but I know that there's about 4,000 houses for sale on the island of Puerto Rico at any given time. That means that for that year, and I don't know how many houses sell in a year, but that's a very low number. Less than 1,000 foreclosures island wide, very, very low.
So
yeah, it
good
said for
question.
this year it was about like 1,700.
1,700 this year. So then that means that it's gone up significantly, if that's right. If there were 1,700 houses foreclosed, that's a pretty significant jump. It could be that there was 1,700 houses in foreclosure and only 950 of them went through the actual foreclosure sale. I'm not sure how this data is being calculated. Are hedge funds still buying real estate at the same levels? What do you think that says about the current market?
So when I was wholesaling, and that was 2022, 2022, 2023. That's when I was really wholesaling a lot of homes. I was selling pretty aggressively to hedge funds, and before I got there, every deal my company got would go to a hedge fund. And then that stopped right around when I got there. And I was selling like a third to a half of my deals to the hedge funds. By the time I left in 2023, at the end of the year, we were selling almost nothing to hedge funds anymore. So I think they completely stopped buying a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
In relation to the huge price spike that we've seen across the country, I think they were aggressively buying 2013, 14, 15, 16. I think that's when they saw those ultra low prices like Robert was buying, and they're like, let's get 100,000 houses at $25,000. And we know they're going to go up.
Yeah.
We can hold them for 10 years. And now they sell them in big packages to each other.
Here's the other thing. So the hedge funds were buying like crazy when houses were super cheap. And I thought they were paying too much money because they were basically paying retail, but everything was cheap. Everything was super cheap. And they were freaking brilliant. And I just didn't have the money to know it. But then they were also buying like mad from the time that the interest rates started to really get low. And they went crazy with it when they could borrow money at 2 and 3%. They were buying like mad. Then what McKenna's saying is that towards the end of 23, 24, interest rates had started to come up and they stopped buying. So they kind of, I think, knew that interest rates were on the rise, and so they would stop. So what they would do is they would go out and raise piles of cash. They would go buy tranches of real estate. Then they would take it to the bank and refinance and pull all the money out. And they were borrowing money at nothing. I mean, they were borrowing money at 2.5%, 3% across, and we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. And so when interest rates seemingly started to go up or were going to go up and they weren't going to be able to refinance at the same rate, then they pulled back. And so if interest rates start to go down and they see an opportunity to buy cheaper and then refinance out at a lower mortgage rate, I think you'll see them step back into the market.
So you can
luckily
see here,
for the island of Puerto Rico, we haven't had that phenomenon where BlackRock came in and just bought everything. It's not that fun, honestly, because mom and pop real estate investors have a hard time competing against BlackRock. And if the local population thinks that we have an affordability problem now, Lord help us if the hedge funds do show up and start buying everything, because they'll send that market through the roof, because there's just not enough housing on the island that one hedge fund comes. I mean, hell, if T-Bolt McKenna came with $50 million and said, let's go buy single family houses in Puerto Rico, he could single-handedly raise the price of affordable houses from affordable to non-affordable in a year or two. I mean, he could buy 1,000 houses. That'd be crazy.
He could totally change a neighborhood.
He could totally change a town or a city.
Yeah,
maybe even the whole island. So
here's the percent of homes that institutional investors were buying, and you can see it's pretty on track with what I was saying. It peaked 2020, and then it was going up and up and up and up, and then right when I started wholesaling, we felt it going down, and then by the end of 2023 here, it just declined to nothing. Like it's no longer a profitable business model for them to buy these homes, but when it is profitable, they'll do it again.
Yeah. They will.
You see that chart?
I'm not a fan at all of these big corporations buying houses, taking them off the market, and never allowing them to be people's homes again. I don't know what you do about it. People always say, "Hey, Robbie, you're the reason that prices are unaffordable in Florida or Puerto Rico," and I'm like, man, come on.
So it says here too that institutional investors own about 600,000 single-family homes in the whole country, which is really not that many.
Doesn't seem right. They own more than that.
I don't think they do. I mean, they can track these things pretty easily.
If that's all they own, that's really not that much.
No, it's not. So I think the thing that has really made things unaffordable is, one, we've had massive inflation, so the dollar's just not worth what it was. And
Yeah.
then we've had bad building laws for 2 decades, 3 decades. You can't build anything. I mean, I'm sitting here in a neighborhood that this entire section of town was built in like 1965 to 1969, and it's a couple thousand homes. There's nowhere in Orlando right now, like maybe like Nona, I guess, is sort of recent, but they don't build the thousands and thousands of homes that we need
Yeah.
to keep demand stable, to keep prices stable. And I think it's due to bad building regulation. I think it's the government's fault, but that's just my opinion. Government, I think the government sucks. And if they really, if they wanted prices to go down, guys, they could do it.
And just to be clear, guys, we're not blaming the government of Israel, so we don't have a death wish.
No.
We're just saying the U.S. government. So don't come after us. I digress.
Oh man, they just got alerted.
Of course.
Don,
where are you at? That's a good-looking coffee shop.
That's the bookmark.
Loud ass. I thought there was no music, and then it all started.
Oh, that's the bookmark at the mall.
I've been
huh?
muted them. Yeah.
Nice. Looks good.
Someone asked here, what's the best way to find people who own zombie homes? You could start at the crib, or you could go after houses have for sale signs. You'll waste your time going after zombie homes for the most part.
Yeah, I agree, Don. The best way is find the ones that have for sale signs on them, because that means that someone in the family has done the work. What happens, Junior Stevenson, or is it RJ Stevenson? There's like 25 errors, so you got to go find 6 Luis Hernandezes all across the United States that have a 40th of this property, and it's very difficult to get everyone in the family on board. That's the big issue. You know, even if you find a couple of the cousins and a couple of the people, you just have to get everybody. You know, you can't take the house if you don't have everyone on board, and it makes it very difficult.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they don't allow you to write a will. Where here's what I'll do when I die. I only have a son and a daughter, but and they'll work well together. But let's say I had 6 kids. I would pick one of the kids to be the executor of the will and make sure that they sold all the properties and then evenly dispersed everything and did the best that they could. They don't allow that on the island. There's this thing called forced inheritance, and then you have to have absolute agreement, and you're not able to just say, hey, my son Charles is going to take care of selling off this house or fixing this place up and getting it rented and making sure that all of the other heirs get taken care of. They don't allow that. And by not allowing that, what happens is that then no one does it, because one person can't be in charge. Then no one's in charge, and they just become zombie houses. And it happens pretty quick. And by the way, there's 300,000 of them right now. And every year people are dying, and there's going to become more of them until they fix that unfortunate law. And I've put content out there, and I know that people will listen to this and they'll think, I love the law of Puerto Rico, don't mess with it, it's cultural. And it's just a poorly written law that keeps people poor, because who can deal with these types of laws are the wealthy people, the families who can set things up and who can roll with the punches. When you have a family that all they have is that one house and they're fighting for it, it's a bad law. It's a poorly written law.
That's a really good point. It's like if you have 3 kids and the only thing they ever own is a $70,000 home in the mountains, and that's all the money in the world, that's a very different story than if you have 3 sons and they inherit a couple $1 million from you and 16 properties and all this stuff. And as long as they have a good relationship, they can just divvy it up between themselves. They don't need to fight and scrap over every last dollar. But when
Yeah.
there's one home, one abandoned property, it's like it leads to fighting unless you're very wealthy. That's a really good point.
I mean, even if you're wealthy, it can lead to fighting. It's still
Yeah.
a poorly written law for them. But if you're wealthy, you can absorb it a little bit, right? But and there are some ways to plan for it. But yeah, it's just a shame. And it's clearly created a huge problem. There's a 250,000 housing shortage on the island, and there's 300,000 zombie houses, which would solve the problem. It's so easy to see a solution. Like you talked earlier, McKenna, about uh, if they had a blight law that would easily allow the island's government to take the houses and then get them fixed up and put back on the market, or if they forced people to pay the taxes, or they went to a tax sale, that could help to solve the problem. There's just like a series of sort of, I would call them bad planning, that caused the island to have so many zombie houses, I guess you'd call them. I do call them.
And Joe in South Beach said, in Robert's case, if McKenna were to have a trust and relocate to Puerto Rico, the trust could take things over at some point and problem solve. I actually don't know if they'll let you do that. Can you sell to your heir? Isn't that a...
Thank you, baby.
They get upset about that, I think. Is that right, guys?
You could sell to your heir while you're alive. You can do anything you want with your property while you're alive. Yeah, but that's yeah. I mean, that's a wealthy person's problem or a wealthy person's solution.
Yeah,
and that's not something that most families are going to think about and therefore have access to, even if it's a simple solution. I mean, hell, I don't even know if most fairly well-off people do that level of planning where they set up trusts. We haven't done it, McKenna, and we're fairly well-off family, but we don't have a trust.
Well, that's part of our family office plans of 2026, I'm sure. Or setting up the estate.
I'm in no hurry, but if I die, you guys can deal with it. But if you guys want it to go smoothly, maybe we should think about it.
Yeah.
My plan is just to live forever.
All right. Well,
good plan, right, Adon? Guys? What other questions do we have?
Good thing McKenna is a self-made man, because if he had to wait for you to die to inherit it, he might die first.
I'm like Jiminy Cricket, man. I'm going to live to be 103.
Also, guys, the way I like to live, I might die before him. I fell off a mountain. I've caught myself on fire, crashed a motorcycle. I mean, your son's got a friggin' death wish, so
careful.
Yeah. And I'm only 29. I've got plenty of time to do more crazy shit.
Yeah. You started to say that, and I know you were just on a cruise. I thought you were going to tell us a story about, I don't know, flipping a kayak or something.
Oh, man. Actually, we got a golf cart, and I'm driving it out of the lot. I just floor it, see what this thing can do. I'm in the parking lot, get up to like 15, 20 miles an hour in the parking lot, and then I hit the brake to slow down. The brakes do not work at all. They just are completely cut. So I'm 20 miles an hour, just like swerving around people, having to like turn slowly until the thing comes to a complete stop. It was crazy. I thought I was going to fly into a ditch.
That's terrifying.
I'm glad you didn't flip it.
Me too.
That's scary. Do we have any questions we want to answer in the end? We started a little bit late, so if you guys want to go an extra 10 minutes here, I mean, we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I know people have other things to do, but if
I've got to go to
hanging out
volleyball
listening
practice
to us and you want to go for another few minutes, I'm happy to.
Yeah, I've got to go to volleyball practice in a bit, but I've got a little bit more time.
Me too. And did you know that we're going to get to like 47,000 subscribers on YouTube like tonight or tomorrow, probably.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
if you're watching this and you haven't already subscribed to our channel, one, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, and two, give this video a like, because we got 20 or 30 people watching, 35 people watching, and only 10 likes. So I know I'm begging for likes. Nobody likes that show. So what do we got? We want to flip in Puerto Rico. We'd love to figure out a process. RJ, my man, we love flipping houses in Puerto Rico. We've built a process. We've been successful at it hundreds of times. And we've got a community for you, my man. We've got a community called the Flip Flop Flipper Community. And someone on that end, Adon or McKenna, is going to put it in the chat right now.
So I'm going to put the link to the free community, but then I'm also going to put the link to the paid community. If you're serious about it, just come into the paid. We do weekly meetings. We have a course in there. The free community really is a place where you can meet other people that are talking about it. There's a course in the free one as well, but if you guys are really serious about this, if you want this to be your business, you want to be in those weekly calls that we do in Apex. They're so valuable. They're with other people that are doing this business. There's been, I think over 200 deals done in the past 15 months of Apex.
Yeah.
And now we're not involved in all of those, but that's between Apex members. We're involved in a decent amount of them, but we're not involved in all of them. So that means members are getting together. Deals are happening. It's a very serious group. I'm going to put the link to that community as well.
So, and by the way, I continue to be completely bullish on Puerto Rico, in Puerto Rico real estate. It's my belief that you can make more money flipping houses in Puerto Rico because of the housing shortage, because the island population, they love to be homeowners. Like Puerto Rico has one of the highest homeownership ratios across the country, and it's been like that for forever. So whenever something can be renovated that can't be lived in and then turned into something that you can hand the keys to someone, and now that renovated house can become their home, there's a line of people ready to buy it. Adon and I are about to experience right now, we're about to put a flip on the market, and even selling it at Christmas, I expect that we're going to get a contract on it very quickly. We're at a working class price point, less than $300,000, and that kind of property just sells on the island of Puerto Rico, and we should make a good bit of money. So that's a great plan you got, RJ.
RJ also says, if you have $1 million cash, how would you invest it or start in Puerto Rico?
I started exactly with $1 million in cash, so I can answer you this question based on historical fact.
What literally happened?
I actually did. I brought $1 million with me to the island of Puerto Rico when I came in 2018. I bought a whole bunch of houses in that first year. We actually moved there in March of 2018, had $1 million, and I came with 3 business models. I came with the idea to buy single family homes and fix them up and sell them. So flips, which is part of your plan. I came with the idea to buy small multifamilies. That was 4 family, 5 family, 6 family, however many units I could get. And so anytime I would buy those type of products, I would keep them as rental properties. And then I also thought that if I found enough deals that I couldn't tackle all of the renovations, I'd just wholesale some properties off to other real estate investors. And the first year that we were on the island from March through the end of the year, so what is that, like 8 months, we turned the $1 million into $2.6 million, flipping the houses that we flipped. And by the way, then by the end of the year, we had a rental portfolio, I think, with about 20 rentals at that point, 20 doors rented. So we flipped a whole bunch of properties, wholesaled a whole bunch of properties, and kept a few small multifamily things for cash flow. That's what I did with $1 million. If I were you, now you're probably not going to be able to do as much as I did, because there's not these big. I was buying small bulks from the bank, and we were buying houses at like 30 grand a piece. Now an inexpensive house might cost you $65,000 to $125,000 to then fix it up. So your money's not going to go as far, but it's still going to go very far. and you can still do all of those three things that I just said that I did back in the day. And by the way, I still think you could probably have about effectively the same kind of returns. So on flips, RJ, we have maintained kind of a floor. So if you will, the worst we do on a flip is about a 40% return cash on cash. So if we're all in at 100 grand, we sell it, we're going to net $140,000. We get our 100 back plus 40. That's a 40% return on your $100,000 investment. And we've done that over 8 years, over hundreds of properties. So that's pretty freaking compelling. It's a really good business model.
We've got 2 or 3 more questions I want to hit here. Is the Aguadilla Guerrero house ready for market? And that's from Willie.
Adon, we were just talking about this with the contractor today.
That's why we were late, right?
Yeah. So we've had people working there every day to finish the punch list. We were doing some touch-up paint, and we had a setback where the last guys who painted it, their paint kind of just peeled off the wall. So we're redoing a portion of our paint job. I would say yes. Basically, we could show the house now. We have been also letting realtors know that it's for sale, and if you want to go see it, Willie, we could go see it next week. I say we, and I actually mean you, because I'm not on the island. I'd be glad to meet you there, but I'm not there. Maybe Adon will meet you, but if you wanted to go next week, I'll tell you the lockbox code and stuff offline, so you can help us sell it.
And then Yami asked, my offer for the 16 unit apartment building came back. They said they want to close before the end of the year and came back with a $145,000 offer. No inspection period. What do you think about that? Adon, I saw you shaking your head.
No inspection.
No?
I need that inspection period. I don't care how good the deal is, unless you can get it cheaper. But I mean, you don't want to buy something that has 3 legs about to fall over.
Yeah. I mean, I think she has inspected it though a little bit. So, damn, they're $9,000 a door, you guys. $9,000 a door. So,
can you remind me, guys? Is this the one that Yami wants to turn into the senior living community?
I believe that it is in Mayaguez. Yeah.
Well, and on that one, it's tough because you're planning to do a massive reno, right? We know it's bad. So it's not like we need to inspect for damages or anything like that. We already know we're doing it. The big inspection period is the permitting and the government work. You want to make sure you can build what you want to build.
I don't love the no inspection period. My thought is that Yami knows whether or not 145 is a good deal. I can tell you this, guys. If I'm buying that project or any project, and have been negotiating it as long as she has, and I don't remember where you started at, and Yami, maybe you put that. Where did they first start out asking? Were they at 300,000 or were they at 150,000? Because that makes a difference. If you feel like 145 is just a freaking incredible deal, then you buy it. I mean, there is a truth to when something is a really good deal, it's okay to say yes. And I know that you've been to this property. We've seen pictures of it. We've talked about it now for months. So if you feel like you're to the point where you're ready to buy it at 145 and that's a good deal, then you got to pull the trigger. But you're the one who would know that. I'm doing it. I'm doing it in Orlando, Florida. I'm going to buy a house that's condemned, you guys. It's a disaster. You walk in it, you can tell that the roof leaks like a sieve. The floors have been eaten up with water rot. It's been sitting vacant forever. So I started out at one price. I ended up at another price. When I originally made the offer, they're like, I made an offer at 175 and they came back at 190 and said I had to close before Christmas. I said, I can't close before Christmas. And then they came back and they said, we'll do it for 182.5. And I had a couple of contractors go over and look at the house. So I was doing the inspection while I was doing the negotiating, and they're like, "Look, if you'll close before the 20th, we'll give it to you for 182.5." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to buy that house." So I did all the work that I needed to do to make sure that I was buying something that I was comfortable with, and I did all of so I've got a contract in my inbox today with no inspection, and I pay all closing costs, and I've got to close by the 19th. So it's a similar type of situation. You've got to decide at some point if it's a good enough deal. You've got to say yes.
Yeah. Well, and I would say too that this deal it's very interesting. Like you know what you want to build already. So I don't know. I think there is a lot that you could do as long as you're sure that the government will let you build what you want to build. I feel like you have all the information you need. Two things I could do about this. One, I don't think there's any chance you're closing before the end of the year, knowing Puerto Rico. It doesn't matter if you put that.
Even if you have the cash in the bank, if
Yeah.
you haven't given a contract to a closing agent before now, it's probably not happening.
This is the last week of work until January. So that's what I think. I think if you're not closed by Friday, you're not closing until the middle of January.
That's a really good point, McKenna. We got the clear to close on the 52 units that we're buying that we've been negotiating on all year long. And the lawyer told us she could close in early January. Right. And we wanted to close before the end of the year. We're like, hey, we're cash buyers. We're ready to go. And this happened this morning. They're like, yeah, we can close second week of January. We'll see you after the new year.
And you've been under contract for 6 months.
I've been under contract for 6 months. I'm dealing with the lawyer who I love, who does a really good job. And she's like, that's what I can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. The closing now before Christmas is probably just not a thing.
And then find out what do they want you to put down. I mean, if they'll take $300 down
or 5,000 down, right?
Yeah.
If you know you're buying it, get it under contract. Have in your contract, if you don't close by the time that they say through no fault of your own because the title company can't do it, you don't want to get punished for that.
Yeah, that's a good point because we know they're not going to
for $6,000. That's not completely unreasonable. Again, if you like it, and Yami, you're not a novice. Like I know you know what a good deal looks like. So, and I'm happy to talk to you offline about this, where we can actually have a real conversation. We could even talk about it tomorrow night in the Shark Tank, but I don't want to lead you astray, and I don't want to tell you just some blanket policy about what we would do or what we wouldn't do. You've been working on this a long time. So you tell us, is it a good deal?
Speaking of Shark Tank, tomorrow, if you want to present inside of the Apex School community, there is a pinned comment with a link to submit your deal. So that if you have a deal or want to talk about a deal, we will only bring you up if you submit the form. So that's the way we're going to do it from now on. It's a very simple form. It has like 4 or 5 questions. You can add photos.
I'm going to put the link right here in the chat. If you want to be on Shark Tank tomorrow, you need to fill out this form.
And you've got to be a member of Apex or a Rainmaker. I mean, well, Rainmakers can do anything they want. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they make it rain. So.
Yeah.
Well, guys, good night. It was good talking to you, and everybody watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the Shark Tank. Same time. Real deals, real analysis.
Did anybody give us any suggestions on what to do for our 100th Monday Night Live extravaganza?
No, we didn't get any suggestions.
All right. Well, listen, as people are watching this, if you get to this point in the video, before the end of the year on the 29th, we're going to do our 100th episode of the Monday Night Power Hour. And we want to do something special. So we'll be thinking about it. It's going to be a big deal for us. It's going to be a fun time. But if you want to put some comments out there for us and give us some ideas, we will be glad to take them into consideration. And don't forget, we're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we're going to hit 47,000 subscribers tonight, like by morning. So if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that little button, and it'll make all of your worries go away. I mean, this is like the best thing you can do for yourself. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll instantly feel good because you'll be helping out.
Mike says we should do the episode 100 in a hot tub.
I don't think anybody wants to see Don and McKenna and I in the same hot tub. Plus, all the water might overflow if the three of us got into one of those little hot tubs. Don, I think you're muted, or we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I muted you, Don. Sorry about that.
But if you do want to see, you can join us on the social cruise. What's it called? The San Juan Social Cruise?
San Juan Social Club.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be in the hot tub.
McKenna and Adon will be in the hot tub holding court if you want to come and do a Monday Night Live from the hot tub on the San Juan Social Club cruise live.
Here's a hot tip for anyone that's going to be on the San Juan Social Club cruise. I'm going to get a spa pass. It costs like $60 a day, and I will be there.
$60 a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will be there from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day. So if you want to talk to me, you know where I'll be. I'll be working the rest of the cruise.
Yeah, and this for us is a working cruise. There's going to be and I know Yami's coming. We have a few other people from the Apex group and from the Rainmakers that are coming. There's going to be, I believe, 500 entrepreneurs on this ship for the San Juan Social Club cruise. This will be our third time going. It's always a great event, and we will do something every day where we're talking about real estate, where we'll have a meetup for our group, and we're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be having a good time, but we're going to be talking about real estate investing. And if you want to come, let us know, and we'll get you the code. Or actually, all you got to do is find the link for the San Juan Social Club cruise and then use the code Robbie Krager, I think.
Yeah, it's going to ask you who sent you, and you need to click Robert Krager.
Doesn't get you a discount or anything. It just gets me some attaboys, and I like attaboys.
Well, and I think what it does do is we can ask Davin for a list of everyone that you referred, and then we know who's in our group.
And we can have dinners together, and we can do meetups. If we wanted to, we could even do like some of the events on the islands when we stop for the day, if we're going to get off of the ship.
I don't think we're getting off the ship.
I don't think we're getting off the ship too much, but it might be something we haven't seen before that we'll have to go do. You never know.
I'm looking now. There's like 10 spots left. That's crazy.
For what?
For the San Juan Social Club cruise.
Yeah.
I think they're selling 500 cabins.
Jeez.
That is sick.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 250 cabins and 500 people. I don't know. It's a lot.
All right, guys. Good night.
This is Emmanuel, and in just 3 weeks, he found the deal of a lifetime, negotiated an offer, got it accepted, found the EMD from a third party, me, and then found the buyer to sell it. Now, how did he do all of that? He's a member of the Flip Flop Flipper Apex community. And inside of Apex, he was able to find the buyer who's an operator. He was able to find someone who wanted to put up the money, and he's got the deal of a lifetime done, and is going to make $40,000 on his very first deal. So if that sounds good to you, and you want to be like Emmanuel, comment Apex, and I'll send you the link.